Hello everybody and welcome to Slay the Spire, playing as the Defect. I've been playing a lot of Defect lately. The class intrigues me and I think I might finally have a grasp on how to play it well enough. So I thought I'd publish a run to see what you guys had to say. Alright, so we can choose a card to be obtain or obtain 100 gold. Obtain a curse, that doesn't sound very good. One of our benefits is the dual cast, at least at first. Since we start off with a lightning orb, this is basically a burst of 16 total for one energy. Seems like a lot, but it's random as far as targets, so if you have more than one target, might not play out the way you want. Anyways, in order to decide, I want to look at the map. I have noticed that the Defect does a good job of handling Act 1 elites fairly well, straight out of the gate. So that is what we shall do. Here's 2 elites. This would allow us to go 2 elites if we came up through here. Okay, so if we did go here or here, 3 hallway fights into a shop, so 100G would actually be pretty decent. And then if we came from here to here, we'd have a campfire before the elite. Of course, we'd then have a second elite right after with a hallway fight. Whereas if we went here, we'd have a campfire after that, an event. By this point in Act 1, usually our deck's solidifying, so having events rather than hallway fights seems decent. Obviously having a campfire before an elite, but like I said, Defect seems to handle elites just fine. So maybe come this way? I don't know. Let's start off right here, but the point is early shop, so yeah, we'll take the 100 gold. We can get our choose cards from these fights. Alright, so bad opening hand. Nothing we can do about that. Let me know what you guys think about the audio level, for example. I have noticed that when I have Slay the Spire running for a while, eventually there's this like whooshing noise that takes place in the background. You don't notice it while playing, but if I try to like walk away and from my computer, I have to either get in the sound mixer and silence the modded Java window, or turn my speakers off, or close the software, and then when I relaunch it, it doesn't seem to be there anymore. Okay, so not the greatest opening. My thoughts on this are that a lot of our damage ends up coming from orbs a lot of the time, so this may not be all that beneficial. This is a good card. We don't have any frost orbs yet, obviously we just started. I really like this card though when it's upgraded, because then you draw 2 cards and that seems more useful. This could be very handy later on, but right now, not the kind of thing we're looking for. I think I'll go ahead and choose the Frost Orb. I think in the early game, defaulting to orb generation is just a good idea. Yeah, here we can just generate an orb, totally kill a guy. Not bad. So yeah, I don't like taking cool-headed up front, but then there's also times where you get going on like an offensive... What is this hand? You get going on your plan and then you find out you just don't have any frost orbs for the later game. And that was actually one of the problems I was having trying to learn the classes. I undervalued frost orbs. Like I could appreciate having a mix, but I didn't realize how easy it would be, how much easier it would be if you had like a late game with, so he's just dead. Late game with frost orbs. Alright, so this will help purify our hand as far as like if we face gremlin. Ball lightning, that's the kind of thing we're looking for. FTL would be okay too, but not as good as Ball Lightning here. Alright. And the fact that we got Ball Lightning helps to offset the fact that we did pick up a Frost Orb already, because now we have 2 Lightning generators. Alright, so we would like to be able to block, and this would allow us to do that. This is max block, essentially. We're going to take some, but I think that's another thing I had to come to grips with, is that as for playing a Defect, you're just going to be taking some damage. That's just all there is to it. Alright, so we could just pop him, or we could play a defend and pop his curl up, so that I think this makes it easier to clean up next turn. And even if I'm wrong, we can just block everything here, so no big deal. Okay, this will make things easy. Cool. Alright, so Cold Snap. Yeah, this is the kind of thing I'm talking about. I've undervalued Cold Snaps in the past, because I look at it, it's like, oh, it says 6 damage instead of Ball Lightning 7. It's a defensive orb rather than... But now we have, what, all of our pickups generating orbs. We already had this one. So now we have the ability to like fill up our orb slots and evoking them, and that makes all of them that much better, in my opinion. A shop before a shop, that's unfair. That's just not right. Ugh, what a waste. Alright, well hopefully we get some good stuff out of it. The Sunder can be amazing at this point. We will never have kunai this run. That was when we're off by 1 gold. Oh, that's one of the things I learned recently, is that in a run, whatever artifacts you see here, like, that's it. So since we can't buy kunai, we'll never have kunai this run. It's not the worst of things, because we do a lot of orb stuff, but this is a pretty easy way to just scale our defensiveness. Like, you know, you take an FTL, for example, so that you increase your ability to, like, play 3 attacks per turn, and then as the fight goes on, all your defensive cards just get better. That's a shame. Rest Site, next combat 2, pick up 5 Bruise. I'm not opposed to that. I'm really liking the Sunder, to be honest with you. Unfortunately, if we take one of these, we will not be able to card remove. And I don't think either of these are particularly important enough to put off a card remove. On the other hand, we're about to run right into another shop. At there, the card remove would be 100, so if we take the card remove here, we're not going to be able to take the card remove there. So I think what I'll do is I'll take the Sunder and then move along, because then we don't, you know, screw ourselves out of whatever options might be here. Chemical X can be amazing, but I don't think we're there yet. So here we can go ahead and remove a card, and then Steam Barrier would be okay, Leap would actually be okay. Another Cold Snap wouldn't be that bad. Bullseye is okay. I don't think we would take Bullseye. We have a good amount of extra attacks right now. So let's go ahead and remove a card. Oh wait, hang on, let me look at the potions here. That's one thing I didn't do at the last shop, is look at the potions. We're a lot less dependent on potions as far as tackling the Act 1 elites, but we do benefit from them. However, our path's only taken us to 2 elites this act, so we'll be fine without them, I think. But let's see. So definitely, let's get rid of a card. There we go. Now we'll find our Sunder more frequently. Steam Barrier. We got a couple Frost Orb generations. I'm not sure if we necessarily want this. I'm told you don't want to take too many zeros in Act 1 in case you go with Snecko Eye, but frankly, I'm not a big fan of Snecko Eye. I get that the Draw 2 is an awesome... I actually had a run where I grabbed it just to play with it, thinking like, oh, maybe I was being too hard on it, and it was interesting. It allows you to take Sunders, for example. I think here maybe just taking a leap would be fine. Obviously that leap is bad against Gremlin Knob. Alright, so now we have to decide, and I think we're fine taking an elite without an upgrade. We have 2 cards here I wouldn't mind upgrading. I like this card a lot better when it's 0. But see aforementioned comment about Snecko Eye. Alright, let's go ahead and tackle this elite. And it is Gremlin Knob, so that leap's gonna bite us in the butt. Luckily, one of the problems I have with playing the class is Order of Orb. So I'm assuming we'd want the Frost Orb in the back, so it stays with us the longest passive. I'm not sure. Or up front, because then it evokes quicker and gives us the more up front. I don't know. And then sometimes I just mix because I don't know any better. So that gets a lot of damage on him. I don't really have a way to burst, but if we end up with a fistful of skills, then I'll use this to... Yeah, here we go. We just drop a Sunder on him. Let the passives take over. We'll take some damage, but that's typical. Yep, so now if we can get back around to Sunder, he's just toast. Ball Lightning, that might be good enough, right? Yeah. There he is, dead. Alright, so we took 1 hit. That's pretty good, actually. Emotion Chip. Oh my gosh. I only just saw this for the first time a few runs ago, and I liked it a lot. So, I'm pleased to see that. Obviously, even in that fight, there was no getting around taking some damage. Hologram I like. We don't really, I mean, if we had 4 energy, hologramming Sunder would be pretty strong. We don't really have a need for hologram yet. But it is a good pick, so if we were going to take one thing... I just picked up the leap, so I think Reinforced Body is a little excessive at the moment. Hologram is another card that later on is better if it's upgraded. Reprogram, I mean, you really have to be not playing orbs for that to be useful. Although it's nice that it like scales if you were doing that, but from what I found, the orbs is a more reliable path. You have to get something really special to choose not to play with the orbs so much. Like if you get a darkness orb and you want to go darkness route. That's a bad example. Debating whether to take hologram. In the spirit of keeping the deck as small as possible, I think I'll skip the hologram here. It's not a bad card, it just doesn't fit our deck right now. I love that it displays the emotion chip here as a reminder. Okay, so we have 12 to block, and this will do 14, so we are free to either cool-headed to get the orb up, or strike to pop the curl up. I'm not sure that there's necessarily, because we have the emotion chip, obviously orbs get even better. That would have been nice to have in the opening hand. That's probably the worst card we could have drawn into, so that's unfortunate. But I'll go ahead and just block. We don't have to end the fight this turn. Or try to, rather. Obviously, if we could end the fight that turn, we totally would. So we only have to block 12. This is 10. The orb will make 12, so that's kind of nice. We'll just go ahead and pop his curl up. I don't think dual cast would have been a bad idea there either. I just think when I first started playing the class, I was like, oh, dual cast always, and then I came to realize how, okay, so the fact that this is 7 rather than 6 is really helpful right there. And then we can do some damage. I'd rather get the zap up first. Almost certainly. Oh, it's just lethal anyways. It's harder for me to spot lethal. Alright, go for the eyes is not bad. We do not get punished. So this is good against Lagavulin, not as good versus the sentries, but the extra damage can be nice. The 0 cost, allowing us to spend energy on blocking if need be. Okay, first upgrade I think has to go to Cool-Headed, as much as I would like to give it to Zap. Go for the eyes is another strong target. Accelerating Cool-Headed though, just, I mean, this is keeping with the whole thinner deck thing. I think that just provides us the most value for our one upgrade there. Lizard Tail, okay, so we have an insurance policy. That can be handy, especially on a class that tends to take more damage than Silent, for example. Ooh-wee, where's my Sunder? Oh man, this is a perfect layout for Sunder. But we don't have any such luck. Go for the eyes, along with Ball Lightning, means we can choose a target for 10, and this guy has exactly 10, so it seems like wiping him off the table provides for our survivability. Might go dual cast here over Zap, just because it increases our chances. We have 10, 10, 11, so if one of these strikes hits any of those and this one hits the same one, and this will hit 2, so yeah, now when we pass there's 2 that if they hit, and I can't remember if he was attacking, but I think so. Alright, and I forgot about the emotion ship, so that's kind of nice. It sucks that it's last turn and not as you're hit, but what are you going to do? Okay, let's go for the one with the most HP. There we go. This still is only 4 because we're debuffed. There we go. Good enough. Don't have any AoE in the deck yet. If I was offered a Doom and Gloom or a Sweeping Beam, I would take it. Alright, so Sunder's showing off this fight, which is kind of funny because it's a little excessive. But I like it. Alright, I think this is another skip. I think we're doing okay as is. What event do we get? Okay. This is mostly positive. Sometimes you get something you don't necessarily want. Alright, because it's a curse, I'm going to choose something that I already know is not a curse. Yeah, look, this is my usual pattern. I actually got a curse at once. So do we want a deep breath? It would shuffle the Sunder back in. It's dual cast back in our orb generation. It's not bad. It's not bad. But if we were looking for our Sunder and we had that in our hand, it would just prevent us from getting back to... Wow. Okay, so, and we don't want that in our deck, so I'll just choose something that's not it. Okay, so we didn't get anything out of that, and that's fine. Okay, on to Elite number 2. Sentries, and we have no AoE. Power Potion. Let's see what we get from the Power Potion. Or better yet, if we're going to be drinking a potion... I was going to say draw some cards, but this will draw us 2 cards, and then we'll probably find another thing to do with our third energy. So I'll do this. Electrodynamics. Very good for this fight. And it generates 2 orbs right away, so as soon as I cast this, pushing 8 AoE, not bad, not bad. Okay. From here, though, go ahead and do the leap, and now all of our defense are out of hand, which is really bad because we're up against the turn of 2 of them attacking. And I'm not confident, although if we draw the Sunder, then one of them's just dead, so we did not draw the Sunder. So I will definitely draw here. Sunder is 24, so bam, you're just out of the picture. Nice, and there's still a chance we can burst this one down as well. So let us... Oh, and they're AoE because of Electrodynamics. Nice. So let's do... This would be 7 and 8, so this is a definite kill, which means we can just go ahead and do that, and that, and that. Sweet! I didn't realize that was going to be able to kill both of them. Alright, Matryoshka. We already hit the chest this time. We're later in the act now, so unknowns are a little more valuable. This makes it even more so because otherwise we have to wait till the Act 3 chest to get the full value out of it, whereas sometimes the random event can be... Alright, so I think Streamline's very attractive in the early game, but one of the things I've come to realize about the Defect is you have the opportunity. Look at all of our picks so far, right? Great in Act 1, and they'll still be good in Act 3, whereas this would not. And this is true with a lot of the Defect cards. If you just make good card picks, you're giving yourself a lot of oomph even into Act 3 just because the Defect has a pretty good card pool. So if we were to take anything here, I think Reinforced Body is the way to go. I'm not averse to stack, but stack right now is just another leap or worse. I mean, you can upgrade it to make sure it's always at least a defend, but whereas Reinforced Body, that'll have a lot of big moments throughout the run, or potentially so. I do think it was a little premature to take it, but it's fine. Our block density is not that out of control or anything. Alright, we only have the one defend here, and that's unfortunate. Maybe we can just do enough damage to cause the split, so let's try. And maybe we made it very close. 332. No, we missed. Whoops. I should have counted that out, because if we were going to miss, then a defend was called for. Oh! I don't know why I thought that wasn't going to be enough. 32 out of... Was it 64 originally? Okay, I should have known better. Alright, so this is a card that the beam that applies vulnerable, I think, makes that a little bit more worth taking. But we can do this for sure, and then... I mean, we could Sunder, but I don't see a need to be honest with you. So let's just do some focus firing and do block. Alright. Okay, well he's making this easy on us. Dual cast again. Sure, especially since I was just about to fill it back up. Yeah, I was going to fill it back up, but I think... Oh, that's not even a full block. I forgot about the frailty. Alright. If I had remembered about the frailty, I might have just gone with the zap anyways, but this is fine too. It's just 1 damage. I don't mind taking some chip damage here and there. So, bang, bang. Oh, I guess we do have to throw a third one at him. Yeah, if that had been a ball lightning instead of the cold snap, not the case. But now we have quite a bit of passive defense from turn to turn. Turn over turn. Bang. Drop the bomb. Alright, another cold snap. Steering barrier is okay. We don't know about Snecko Eye, and we did just take Reinforced Body, so that's not an option. I've been converted as far as rebound goes. I actually liked it at first, you know. I had games that were kind of fun where rebound, streamline, and then hologram rebound, streamline. So you're casting streamline like 3 turns in a row, and that's fine. But then that involves 2 cards that, like I was mentioning before, like kind of peter out way before the 3rd act. So the question is, would we take another cold snap here? It's not bad. With the taking of the reinforced body, we did up our block density a bit. I don't think there's a right answer here. I think it's fine either way, take it or not. We don't really have a clear focus yet, although both of these are cards that we want to see more often. And with this and this, it's not that we need the other Frost Orb. So I think this is going to be a skip for me as well. Let me know what you guys think, please, because this is one of the things I'm struggling with, is trying to be responsible with my deck size. Okay. We could dual cast. Let's see where that leaves us. Oh, it just eliminates one. Okay. So that makes this, and then we'll just cast this because, oh wait, no. We can do this first. Yeah. I don't know why I thought. That's the problem with some zero cost cards, is sometimes I play a card and I just count that as a energy in my head. I should probably install the mod that allows me to move this, bring it closer to like the center, so I'm not as likely to forget. Sunder is overkill by a lot. It's comical. Oh, that's not enough for we are weak. Alright, so I guess we gotta do that too. That's fine. Alright, that might come in handy with Slime Boss. Recycle when upgrade is pretty great. Right now, our upgrade, we got 3 decent targets. With the Slime Boss coming up, I think I'd prioritize this over the other 2. The debuff's not as important because the split wipes the debuff. So the fact that this only really works on the turn is okay. But giving this more reach increases your chances of the secondary component, or if you have like Echo Form, or this is just a good card to give it its full potential. And right now, like, I would see Recycle as, if we don't get an energy relic at the end boss, then something like this becomes a little more important. And you could say the same for Turbo. They're essentially very comparable as far as what they set out to accomplish. Stack our block density is fine, so I'm not going to take that either. This is a skip for me. Alright, so Smith, yeah, I think going into Sunder makes the most sense. It's 8 damage added to 1 card, and the only real downside is that if we draw into it with Cool Headed, we can't play it. Alright. Good enough opening hand. It's not a fistful of defense, so... Here's the Sunder. Alright, so 32 and 6 is 38. That's 90, 84. Do this, it should be 81, which gets us close to the split threshold without crossing it. So that seems good. So we only have to do 5 damage to cause the split, and obviously we'd like to cause more. Unfortunately, a lot of our heavy hitters are in the discard pile. So just do what we can. No point in doing anything after that. Alright, so we got him down to 54. Not the worst of things. Could have dropped the fire potion. I'm not too worried about it. Here... Alright, it's really nice that the evoke hits him. Let's see, we need 27. We need both of these to hit him for him to split. Or we can just force the split. It's okay if we take some damage here. It's the boss. In fact, not making him split means we're not up against like 2 attacking for 10 each or whatever. It's just a question of whether to get rid of the slime or... We're at the top of our deck, so I'm going to let the slime ride. won't necessarily get back around to it, so taking it out over the extra. Oh, no, our ability to... Okay, so this is bad. I'll definitely go for the eyes, this guy. And rather than cool-headed, I'm just going to hit this guy hard. There we go. Oh, and I still can cool-headed. But we would draw into stuff we would just end up throwing away anyway, so I'll just pay for the slime. I should have played the cool-headed first that turn, not realizing that I didn't have use for all of the energy. Alright. So Sunder is just kablamo. We play the zap so that we move our lightning orb to the front there. And I'll go ahead and pay for the slime because Defect has no purpose here. 1 over the threshold. Yikes. What a terrible hand. Alright, well at least we can force the issue. Alright, so pair of 19s. Pretty much over. We got 36 health yet. 1 frost orb. Piece of cake. Ooh, piece of candy. Bang. On the door, baby. Didn't even need to use a potion. Alright, what do we got here? Electrodynamics. Or all for one. All for one would make the upgrade on Zap higher priority. Do have to go for the eyes, which is one of the premium cards in our deck. One of the most standout features. Electrodynamics gives us the ability to turn all of our lightning orbs into AoE, which can be very handy. It's not essential, but we did not pick up any AoE in Act 1, and that can be a problem. So for me, I think Electrodynamics is the pick here. I don't think All for One would be a bad pick. It's good if you use it to pull back good cards. But I think the lack of AoE in the deck makes that a must pick. Alright, so thanks for joining me for Act 1. I like to... Oh yeah. I have found that this is not so bad in Defect. I forget what's the downside to this one. 2 fewer choose. That's kind of bad. But less restrictive than this, because worst case scenario is we just pass, right? We still have shops and stuff. Astrolabe. I like this card a whole lot better. I used to just dismiss this relic out of hand, and then I realized you can choose the cards, and then like, oh, okay, that's not so bad. But with Sunder and now Electrodynamics, I definitely want to have the extra energy. And I don't think this is bad in Defect, and this deck in particular would not mind being limited to 6, but last time I went under that assumption towards the end of Act 3, it was starting to become a problem that I had to choose only 6 cards to play. So I think we'll go with this. I don't think it's actually a busted crown, I think it's just okay, but the 4th energy, we have it now, so that's great. Alright, now's the time for me to thank you for joining me in Act 1. I record these in parts, so I'll see you in the next act. Take care. Okay, gonna get right back into Act 2. Very quick recap. We had a very lean Act 1 with picking up Electrodynamics and the Busted Crown at the end. We do have the Emotion Chip. We have a fair amount of Orb Generators, Sunder Plus, go for the eyes, and some more block. So we're in pretty good shape, I think. The fact that we're only going to be offered 1 card and therefore have to skip more frequently, I don't think is going to be a problem. Especially since in Act 2, for my money, the 2 easy fights that you get, the path I was looking at here, we have an elite here, campfire, chests. Alright, so we could come up through, we have over 300 gold, so I want to get into the shop here, right? This is 1 easy fight, and we can go to event, so that by the time we're here, this is the 2nd easy fight, and now we're getting into our 2 relics, and we can go event, and then just have the 1 normal hallway fight with 2 elites. I think that's probably our best option, but I'm eager to hear what you guys have to think. Alright, so it's a shame that we didn't pick up thorns or better AoE or something. Let's see here. Dual cast would be a mistake. This is oh, we have 4 energy. Okay, I was just gonna say this is an awkward hand, but the fact that we have 4 energy makes it a little more livable. Their little buff thingy here will prevent damage, so it's not like Sunder is a slam dunk, which is unfortunate. So I think I'll pick on the guy who's trying to buff his strength first. We would like to see him go down first, and then Leap's just more block, almost perfect block. Oh yeah, I suppose I could use the fire potion here, or the explosive, is that what's, yeah, explosive potion. That's probably a good idea. Go for the eyes. Because of the way rounding works in this game, this will actually make these guys say 0 out of 5, which is very helpful. If we do this, I'm doing this mostly because I'm never comfortable having full potions. I can't even say 3 anymore now that I realize that like there's ascension levels where you're limited to 2. Okay, so I could go for the eyes, one of the ones that are gonna live. Let's cool-headed first. See what our options are. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. So we will go ahead and put the throwaway on him to get him off the table. We'll go for the eyes. One of those, so now we only have to block for 5. I'm okay with not blocking at all, especially if we throw our other 2 attacks into the other guy. Oh, we don't have 2 attacks. Zap. Okay, I'll just defend. Zap was tempting, but the evocation of this orb wouldn't have made that much of a difference, so I'm okay with losing life, but we didn't have to here, so why bother? Okay, so we get to show off the AoE here. It generates 2 orbs, and any orbs that evokes by generating them do fall under the AoE rule. So this is just bye-bye. Alright, so we did get a potion, and that kind of indicates using a potion there. I'm not going to take Hello World. Defect has some good commons, so this isn't a bad card on shorter fights. On longer fights, your deck just gets diluted. And we have a fairly tight deck here. Sunder, go for the eyes. And because our deck is a little tight, we'll find Electrodynamics a little more reliably, so I think that's just a skip. Okay, what event do we get? Act 2 has some good events. Necronomicon would work good with us. The problem here is I don't know what all of the books do, so I don't know what our chances of getting a good book. I just know we have to take like 16 damage to finally get it. There is one, I think, that generates a power every turn that is 0 cost. That would be amazing. Necronomicon would be okay with Sunder and only Sunder. I don't think, I don't know for sure. I don't think Defect has a whole lot of 2 or more cost attacks. So I don't know if this is worth it, but I know we have the health, so I'll give it a shot. What do we get? At the end of your turn, you may shuffle 1 of 3 random cards into your draw pile. Okay. I think in the past I've looked at this as kind of like Hello World, like diluting your deck. But now as I read it out loud, the fact that it shuffles it into your draw pile could be pretty handy. So you say, oh, I'm in this type of situation, and you can basically shop for a card that helps you better address that. That's not so bad. Alright, so we'll play with that. I still agree about the whole adding to your draw being a problem, but I'm assuming we'll have the option to skip as well. So, onto the shop. We have a fair amount of gold, so let's see what our options are here. There's a sweeping beam, lantern, meat on the bone. Meat on the bone's promising. Lantern, I've had that with an energy relic before, and it's been okay. The fact that we have the Buster Crown means I don't think it's quite as important. The meat on the bone could be very handy. Capacitor, I wouldn't say necessarily it's too soon for it. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll count this as 1. We'll say 5, because I'm looking at orbs per deck cycle, and obviously this pushes out more than 1, but then it's out of our deck. So we have 5 pushers and only 1 evoker. So I don't think capacitor's bad. It would give us the opportunity to quote-unquote scale our orbs by simply having more. I'm not averse to sweeping beam after Electrodynamics. It seems a little excessive. Jorbs has talked this up a little bit, and I can understand why, especially if you upgrade it. I did play a Defect run where I got the event that allowed me to upgrade all my strikes and defends, and then I ended up using a card remove on sweeping beam because I never got around to upgrading it. So that kind of put a bad taste in my mouth. So right now it's looking like meat on the bone and capacitor. Can we afford both? No. See how the numbers are glowing or flashing red. So no, we would have to choose between the two. I think capacitor is also a little more valuable with Electrodynamics. So what are we looking at here? 336. We are 5 gold short of what we want to do here. That is a shame. As much as I'd like to scale our orbs, I think the parachute of healing is valuable. Let's take a look at this map. We got event, event, elite, fire, event, event, fire. Alright, so we got 3 campfires. Resting is an option. Okay, so the alternative is capacitor, remove a card. Could also be argued that if we're yeah, I think I'm gonna take the capacitor, so let's get rid of a strike. Getting rid of the strike makes our block density a little high, but it's okay. We do have the 2 powers now, so that offsets it in the first cycle of the deck. We could still grab the lantern. We still have money for that. I think if I chose that at this point, I'd be spending for the sake of spending. But this is the last shop on this floor. We have another option, but it would take away an elite option and a campfire. And I think the opportunity cost of that is too severe. So, how important is it to have us the extra energy on turn 1? If we were to draw Electrodynamics or Sunder, I think it would be great. Even if we just drew capacitor, having the extra energy, allowing us to set that up while still focusing on whatever else we might want to do. We do have cool headed. Having extra energy for that can be handy. So I'm going to say why not. That's the start of combat, so we will go like so. Alright, so that's a little bit of icing on the cake as far as not being able to take the meat on the bone, as we still have money to do. Okay, upgrade a card in your deck. What does this give us? Warped Tongs. At the start of your turn, upgrade a random card in your hand for the rest of combat. We just came out of a shop, so we can't remove pain, and pain hurts. So I'm gonna just take the upgrade. Free upgrade's nice. Zap is an option. Go for the eyes. Could be handy. I also like Electrodynamics upgraded. It becomes 3 orbs, which makes this card that much more playable if you're fighting single target. Because 3 lightning orbs for 2 energy is not bad. Because otherwise this is a semi-dead card against... Like if they're doing nothing and you have a fistful of defense, then yeah, playing that's okay. So it comes down to which of those do I think is most valuable right now. We're about to have an elite fight. Book of Stabbings, kind of scary. Slavers. I think that's part of my problem playing Act 2 and 3 is I don't have it quite so memorized as Act 1. I know there's got to be at least one more elite option, but I can't think of what it is. So as far as choosing, we've got the Busted Crown and the Lantern, so I don't think this is as high a priority as I would have put early Act 1. So it comes down to go for the eyes or Electrodynamics. Upgrading the Electrodynamics to 3 lightning orbs isn't just good for single target, because it increases your chance of evoking, you know, the lightning orbs that you might already be carrying. So you get some of the AoE immediately instead of it being fully set up. And with the capacitor as well, having extra orbs kind of plays into that nicely. So I don't think go for the eyes would be a bad idea here, but I want to take Electrodynamics. It's the only AoE card we have right now, and that's another consideration. But as per usual, you guys let me know what you would have done. Alright. So we have that 5th energy up front, which is great. That evokes one right now. This evokes one, this evokes one. We have no defense right now, so I'm going to go ahead and throw this at it. Oh wait, I don't know why I was thinking we were doing Elite Night. Oh, because it's an event. Okay, so this was unexpected. Alright. Obviously this is great with Book of Stabbing, so... yeah, it's not so great here, because after she attacks this turn, she like... what's going on here? Oh, choose a card! The dinghy! Okay, right. I mean, this would push an orb, but that's it. Give us a dark orb, I don't think that's particularly important. They remove... obviously that's not good. If we're not hitting multiple targets, I don't think this is worth it, and I don't think the dark orb would come so much in play, so we'll just skip. Yeah, that prompt kind of caught me off guard. It's our first fight since we picked up, what's that called? Nelry's Codex? Oh dear. Oh, she hasn't put the hex on us yet, so this is fine. A plague of both your houses. Let's see here. We'll always play this. Dual cast. Eek. Our next draw is not going to be great. So we might need Nelry's Codex to liven things up a bit. So I will dual cast just because Sunder is coming up. Although it looks like we wouldn't have needed that. So maybe that was a mistake, I don't know. But it does burst her down. Let's see here. FTL. I'll take that. Help us draw through the bad cards at no cost. Sunder just ends the match. There it is. Cool. Not bad at all. Okay, so we did take 10, but that's okay. And we do have the Lizard Tail as a backup, so that's nice too. Another Ball Lightning. Probably excessive. We did pick up Capacitor, so... I think Ball Lightning's great to get 2 or even 3 of in Act 1, but we're starting to get to the point in the game where... I don't know, I guess now that I think about it, that's an argument against Electrodynamics, is we're getting to the point now where the Frost Orbs are going to be more important. So I think I'm going to skip Ball Lightning. We upgraded Electrodynamics, so we're a little too heavy on Lightning Orbs. For good reason, but nevertheless. Alright, so it is Book and Stabbing. I'm glad I held on to the Potion of Weakness. Speaking of weakness, there we go. It never lights up if it's in your opening hand. I have a mod that does this, that highlights the fact that the Hearthstone UI started doing that at one point. It was very helpful. Okay, well we have just a lot of energy right now, so we can cast everything and then some. That's full block, so there's no need to use the weakness potion. Aggregate. No. We just had a turn where we had too much. The Dark Orb I don't think would be... I don't know, maybe the Dark Orb would be handy here and the fight a little quicker. Maybe. Maybe. Sunder and Electrodynamics. We'd hate to draw those at the same time. I don't know. I think the Dark Orb would not have a chance to develop. So I'm going to skip. I wouldn't have the opportunity. Although with 5 slots, it's more likely. I'm just looking at Electrodynamics. Going to put 3 in. Alright, so we're going to cast Cool-Headed first. It's nice finally being in a position where it feels like that's a decision we can afford to make. Alright, so that increases our turn-over-turn passive damage, which is nice. Now we have to look at this 18 to mitigate, and we only have 1 card to do it with, so now's a good time for the weakness potion. Maybe Electrodynamics was a mistake there. Probably not. Alright, it's either Cold Snap or Defend. I'll go ahead and Defend. Unfortunately, this is a multi-attack, and Defend does not give us enough to block the second one fully, so we're about to incur 2 wounds. Cold Snap. Is Cold Snap strong enough to include here? It's going to be a Sunder turn. We're only going to have 4 energy. Nope. I don't think so. Call me Dr. No. I skip on all the things now. Yeah, 2 wounds. That sucks. And we're about to reshuffle our deck too. That sucks. Sucks. Well, at least this turn he's only doing a single strike. Gotta go with the Sunder. Do we? What would it take to full block? Just 2. 2 energy. 3. Dual cast is premature. Alrighty. Capacitor or ball lightning? Whatever we choose here, we're guaranteed to draw next turn. Fission. I did finally see a deck where that made sense. It was a video I was watching. It wasn't one of my own. So whatever we pick here, we do draw. What is our current orb setup? Okay, so alright. I'm going to skip because our defensive cards haven't really been very cooperative with this fight. So I don't want to dilute the deck further with non-defensive cards right now. We have the lightning orbs. We could just sit here and block forever if we had to. Alright, as much as I'd love to Sunder, I want to get the Frost Orb in there. And this would be a full block. Right? 16, yep. Alright. What could we do here? Genetic algorithm. I don't know if we played this and then later picked one up, if it would carry over or not. I'm assuming not, so I won't pick it. But you guys let me know if you know differently, because that would be a great pickup for our deck in general. But right now it would be a liability because it's, you know, it's entry level. Very good. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of options here, so we'll just cast what we have. I could end the fight with the fire potion, so let's do that. We've taken enough abuse. This decision doesn't matter. Alright, got through it. Oh, nice. Starting the combat with 1 dexterity is nice. Okay, we get a block potion. Upgraded compile driver. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. You'll love to see that. Sweet. Thank you, Busted Crown, for not totally screwing over the run. Alright. That pleases me. Electrodynamics and multi-target fight. Don't mind if I do. We can... Cool-headed. Well, if we're not going to compile driver, getting the Frost Orb in the mix right now is not so great. But our energy says that we do have the ability to cast one of these. And this one does damage, so we'll just do this. Go for the eyes. Okay, it's free, so there's that. Capacitor first. Electrodynamics. This is going to be a lot of fun. All of these orbs will hit both of them. Fun, fun, fun. We have no focus generation, which is a problem. Rip and Tear is not a bad use of one energy. But I think now that our orbs are all set up the way they are, we would be looking for block cards, so I'm just going to skip that. 15 each. Not the most impactful thing, but yeah. Compared to how the orbs normally behave. Alright, so we would achieve full block without getting a Frost Orb in there, so I think that's what we'll do. Just for the sake of... Oh yeah, we have the dexterity, I forgot all about that. Oh, I stand corrected. Because we have the extra energy, I will go ahead and use the Cold Snap. I was perfectly fine with just leaving these all as lightning orbs. Machine learning would help us get to the... I don't think it's gonna... So, basically with this card, if you play it, that turn, you basically sank your one card, one energy. The next turn, you will draw a card, and now this is paid for. And then on the second turn, then you're at a net positive. So this, especially when we look at their health totals. Whoops, I didn't mean to hit skip. I meant to hit the I. I mean, I was going to skip, but their health totals, I don't think the fight's going to last long enough for it to be worthwhile. I would rather just draw the block cards we're looking for rather than set up for maybe being able to draw them later. 32, not quite enough, although since these are AoE, well, that's another nice thing about Electrodynamics, is one of the downsides of the orb system is that they're random. But with Electrodynamics, you know every single orb is going to hit every single person, so we know Sunder here is actually lethal, so we can play it even though we don't get a kill off of it and get the refunded energy. I think we're past the point of needing block help. And we're past the point of loop being handy. I'll go ahead and throw buffer in there, just because it is a full block and I don't think she multi-attacks. But, I mean, this fight's kind of over anyways. Loop would have been an okay option without focus. Not so great. Yeah, so we're only spending 2 energy this turn anyway, so the buffer just kind of fits into there. Alright. Recycle. Throwing auto shields in there. This fight's kind of over, so it doesn't really matter either way. And we have the buffer up, so... yeah. So maybe I shouldn't have chosen the shields, because now at this point it's actually a matter of ending... So this is not an offensive card, and we could have used an offensive card here. So that was a mistake on my part. Reboot. But I think it's over, right? That's 12, and she only had 11. Yeah. Alright. Claw Plus. No, thank you. We do not have Kunai or Ornamental Fan or Pen Nib or anything like that. So this does not fit our deck. We do have a tight deck. We do have a couple powers, a couple draw cards. So there is a mild recursion aspect, but not so much that we would take a Claw Plus, I don't think. Alright, so we are moving along to the 2 campfires to that elite. It's nice to be back at a campfire. Healing is an option. Is it one we need to take? Probably not. We get an extra relic here. We have a second option here. So if we have some bad events, which I don't think Act 2 is really known for. Alright, so now is the time for... Go for the eyes. I do think Reinforced Body eventually would be a good one. The X factor, because 7 per energy is not very good on a block. 10's much better. I think it upgrades to 10, doesn't it? 9. Why was I thinking 10? I don't know. But with us, it would be 8 and 10. Yeah, I don't know why I thought that was 10. Could have sworn it was 10. Anyways, I think go for the eyes is the way to go here. Okay, this is the one we want. Gives us the best options moving forward. Wow, I was just talking about how we could use that. And Pantograph greatly reduces our need to even consider healing. That was a good chest. Thank you, Matryoshka. Let's see here. How would I sort those? This is map. This is beginning. Start each combat. So we'll do that, 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 that. Okay, that's how I would like it. This is technically once per turn. Yeah. It's not terribly important. And no, I don't have OCD. In fact, I abhor the phrase. I think categorizing having preferences as a disorder is very unhealthy. Alright, we could obtain, at the end of your turn, gain 1 frail. We passed up our store option as far as removing the curse. So I'm just going to leave here. Another curse. Wow. Yeah, that's innate. Don't like that one. Alright, so we're just getting free passes, which is neither here nor there. We have a tight deck. We have Electrodynamics. I think we have the things we need for Bronze Automaton. I think maybe upgrading this before the fight would be really good, because both of these deal with Hyper Beam fairly well. So that will be the plan. Do it before the Elite? Maybe. Maybe. What would we do? What would we upgrade if it wasn't Reinforced Body? Zap. Yeah, this is Reinforced Body. Also, I don't think upgrading Capacitor is the worst idea. Alright, so this is a fight where our orbs... Oh, whoops, let me get this pantograph off of here. It's, yeah, see, if I scroll the map down and it's here, it stays there. But if it's off screen, then it's off screen. Alright, so we gotta start with Compile Driver, even though it's only draw 1. Reinforced Body is very good. Here, we would technically only need to devote 2 energy to it. But you know what? Strike is only going to do 2 damage here, so I'll just devote 3, get the full block. Seek, Buffer, Recycle. I think this guy has some single attacks. Let's check. No, only multi? Okay. According to the flowchart, it's only multi. So, I'm not so sure Buffer is the play. What does his flowchart say again? Alright, so 2/3 of the time he's attacking with 7/3. Seek, maybe. But our Reinforced Body is out of the deck. Seek will actually be a net loss. We would just be using it for Go for the Eyes, really. So I think that's not the pick. Buffer is 2 energy block for 7, essentially. If it was plus, maybe, but it's not. So I'm going to skip those. And my apologies for the ways that this kind of like makes the thing go slower, but I think one of the weaknesses I've noticed in my recordings is that I'm so eager to reduce the show time for you guys that I rush things that I think I would enjoy the game a lot more if I wasn't rushing through. So that's where I'm at here. I just reminded myself I do have the Block Potion, so that's a thing. I guess we'll cast Cool-Headed first. It gives us a Frost Orb, and hey, look at what I found. That makes this a little simpler. 15, we're getting 3 from here. 6 if we evoke it, which this would do. And then this would give us 11. That's the most block we can summon this turn. Well, unless I use the potion. Would I use the potion? Would I use the potion? 12 block. Alright, so it's starting to feel like our block game in general is a little lackluster. It's something to work on moving forward. Alright. So if I used this and didn't evoke, we would have full block. So let's use this opportunity to capacitor and electrodynamics. And that way we have... white noise can be a lot of fun. Reinforced body fits our current situation. So let's do that. It's not upgraded, but that's okay. With his attack pattern, we would only need to devote 3 energy, and he's weakened, so even that's not true. And now he's disappeared. So I'll yeah. That invokes is malleable, unfortunately, but defrag would be good. A little too late, but that's fine. I wasn't looking at the fact that he's a pass away from dying anyway, so that was literally a non-choice. And the fight is just over. Echo form. That was fun to see. Ever so briefly. Streamline plus. No thank you. If anything, I'd like to up our block density slightly. Oh, there's the pantograph again. Okay, so what we want to see here is electrodynamics. Sunder right now is very good, obviously, so we will go ahead and kill something rather than nothing. And the rest of this turn's pretty garbage. I'm not going to get rid of our only orb, especially since one of the things we want to find in this fight is the electrodynamics. FTL, consume. We did just capacitor. Consume would be nice long term. I think if we were to draw it before the electrodynamics, it would be a shame. So I will choose FTL because it's the only one here that doesn't slow us down finding electrodynamics, or compile driver, or cool-headed, which in turn gets us the electrodynamics. Yeah, here we go, compile driver. I will go ahead and cold snap first. It draws us another card, but then we're down to 2 energy. So like if this drew us cool-headed, and then cool-headed drew us electrodynamics, we would just be screwed. I still think this is the best play anyways. It's not like we have a lot of follow-up in the event that we don't find electrodynamics. And we did, so there we go. And, okay, I did not put the consume in, and for good reason. Fusion, force field, power card, force field. We're done playing powers, so force field would be to... It's another semi-big block. Did I throw in the other reinforced body? I didn't. Weren't we offered reinforced body, one of these options? Did I choose something else? Alright. So force field, I don't know. It's not that much better than defends. But realistically, we're set up with all our electric orbs and electrodynamics, so blocking is higher priority at this point. And I think that's why I give this a little more credit than I originally did, because it allows us to make decisions like that. Alright, so he's choosing to go for it. We have 16 AoE, so we can ignore this guy. And this means one more block on him. Actually, we can evoke a orb, and that's... so even that might have been excessive. Yeah, because just playing cool-headed evokes the orb. Yeah, so now 12 AoE. No, it's fine. Go for the eyes here. And now we have a clearer picture. We're looking at 18 We're going to have 6. We only need to account for 12, which Force Field does flawlessly. Or if we were to zap, we evoke this for 6. We need... Okay, so 6, 9. We would only need 9. So I don't know that zap is better than strike here. Well, as long as we can handle the blocking. Alright, so these guys are going to die, so he's not going to attack next turn. Because he's attacking this turn and his minions are gone. I guess there's a 25% chance. So, yeah, I will go ahead and do the zap. I'll cast this first just because I don't want to forget it. Or leave myself in a situation where a misclick takes away all my energy. Hyper Beam, not necessary. Hello World would just be adding some flavor to the rest of the fight. Fission, nope. Alright. Okay, so now we can go all in. And we don't have, thank goodness. Wow. 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 Wow, 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 wow. Are we getting close enough that this makes sense? We would do 18. He's getting ready to summon, so I think parting with our lightning orb here is a bad idea. So we'll just show off how much armor we can produce. Buffer, beam cell, beam cell. Maybe that has a place here. No, because I think having a fistful of block is like a first world problem at this point. Our orbs are set up where we just are guaranteed to win. It's just a question of how much damage do we take in the meantime. But he always multi-attacks, doesn't he? Yeah, so buffer's not so great there. Core Surge, we don't need the artifact. Beam Cell. Alright, I'll put... no, that's just going to accelerate. We don't need an accelerator, we just need to make sure we conserve as much of our health as we can. I'm probably playing this fight a little too conservatively, but I think that's one of the benefits of this class, is that it has the option. Alright, so what we got here? 16 AoE. We'd like to do 7 to this guy. Evoking does that, so Zap satisfies that requirement. So now AoE will take even him, which means we can focus exclusively on him. And here we are. We're in a situation where we'd love to have more block, and we just don't. So we're going to take some damage, which is a shame. Luckily we have some energy to get some work in on this guy. And I see the error of my ways. Like, if we could have accelerated the fight, then this damage would not be landing at all. Best defense is good offense, kind of thing. Alright, I'll throw the equilibrium in. Although the fight's kind of like over now. He's taking 16 passively next turn. Ouch! Oh yeah, but the emotion chip evokes our orb, so it's just game over. I pass and it's over. But we like finishing with Sunder, so there we go. Alright. So... nice! That's funny, those are the only 2 of their kind, and they got singled out. Sweet. Not bad. No, I don't want cheesy poofs. Alright. Pantograph will heal us for 25, so I don't think we have a need to rest here. Let's see. If anything, we would want to upgrade. Leap. We would do this if energy's been a problem, and it hasn't been. Leap. Yeah. Capacitor. I mean, we could do capacitor so we could hold on to more frost orbs at once. We don't have enough frost orb generation, to be honest with you. I could go with like a glacier right now. So maybe that's what we use the store for. Or we could just take the heal to full, with the pantograph. Because the ability to block for enough when we need it does seem to be one of our problems. So the heal would accomplish that. But let's see if we can get away with not healing. Kind of looking at leap or capacitor. I think that fits our current climate the best. Alright, so let's do this. Let's try to get that pantograph off the screen. Oh, okay, I have to manually... There we go. Okay. Definitely cool-headed to start. Draw the cards. We now have 2, so compile drivers for 2. That's quite good. Electrodynamics for the setup. Wall lightning. Okay, well, it is nice to have this online before his lackeys show up. I'm not pleased to see the reinforced body going away. I don't think Doom and Gloom's terrible. We have the Electrodynamics set up. So, more AoE slash getting a Dark Orb. Because that was the problem with that last Elite fight. If we had had a Dark Orb, right, like it would have gone that much better. Okay. Let me take a look what's behind door number 3. All for One has a place in this deck. Does nothing right now, but let's do that. Alright. So I'm thinking we can dual cast because we're going to be generating orbs anyways. 18 AoE, not bad for 1 energy. And then I will cold snap first. Doom and Gloom. And then all for 1 just because we can. Everybody's going to be taking 4 AoE. That's not enough to kill him, so I'll just all for 1 him. FTL, we did just pick up an all for 1. Auto shields is quite good. Alright, so next turn survivability is covered, and really next turn is not one we necessarily need. So this kind of becomes free, and it does play well. I think the pendulum swinging the other way is in my brain. The elite fight was drawn out, so... Oh, he took the FT. That's funny. Alright, so we just get it back here. Yeah, the last elite fight was, like, drawn out. Okay, FTL gets shuffled back in, which is unfortunate. Oh, no, it doesn't. Alright, so we want to do this for setup purposes. This will recur, so we'll do that. All for 1, get these back. And then we'll fill in our slots. Nice, not bad. Turbo. No, buffer. Hyper beam turn is a single hit. Being able to time buffer with that or just before it would be amazing. 10 times 2. Okay, well, let us, with 4 energy, I think we just go full block, and that's more than enough. Oh, especially because I forgot about the Godly Smooth Stone. Better than multicast for sure. Bullseye would accelerate the fight. I don't think it's significant. Oh no, he's got 3 artifacts. Never mind. That would have been a very bad decision. It's unfortunate he wasn't attacking us the turn we were throwing all those go for the eyes at him. Alright, so if the flowchart's to be believed, it's a very good chance that his next strike is the Hyper Beam. So buffer here makes a lot of sense. And this is just the best use of our energy. It does bring this Dark Orb closer. So I don't think he ever resummons. Compile driver is great. It's draw 3 right now. There's the Hyper Beam. We can literally ignore... Wow, we have a lot of card draw this turn. We can literally ignore survivability here. Because of the buffer. Oops. Alright. played these two, we evoke the Dark Orb. And I don't think drawing any more cards this turn is particularly handy. So let's get that going. Start striking. Hyper Beam Buffer, Compile Driver. Fight's getting near the end. Sunder's even good. I like Compile Driver. Compile Driver is one of the best cards you have access to. It's also one of the reasons why Cool-Headed. I actually had a fight where I had Cool-Headed Plus and then whichever bottle applies to that card. So every start I would have Cool-Headed Plus, and then I had like 2 Compile Drivers in the deck. And that was like 3 out of my 4 first drafts. It was great. That was a good run. Alright, let's go ahead and use this while it's bonus. Draw some cards. Oh, look at this. I think that's just game over. I didn't even see it. I don't play with Dark Orbs enough, which I'm not putting out there as a deficiency. I think some people can use them as a crutch. Obviously, they have their place. Rainbow only. I was just talking about Dark Orbs. I don't think Rainbow fits our deck at all. No, I do not. Oh, okay, so we don't have Dark Orb generation in and of itself. Alright, it does exhaust, which I think we can choose to take that away. Alright, so since we don't have a Dark Orb, let's do this. And this goes back to that pendulum thing I was talking about. Because that one elite fight with the Gremlin leader got drawn out and we got lightly punished for it, I think I'm mentally kind of overcompensating by thinking about accelerating fight ends. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Rainbow is not big block, which I think is what we need to aim for next, but I do think it gives us a Dark Orb, so let's try it out. I don't know that we need another energy. Giving up a Smith at this point would not be the worst of things. I think lately we've been, if anything, having too much energy. So I don't know how important it is, but I know anytime I've said that in the past that I end up getting punished for it. If we could pick up more Compile Drivers, that would be great. Right? And that's the two things we're lacking, is more big blocks, and we could use some more card draw. And I think another energy does both of those things. I did see a run where this being taken finally made sense, but that's not where we are. And I don't think I could ever go without the enemy intense. I don't think I'll ever choose this one. I don't think I'll ever have enough hours invested in the game where, I mean, the flowchart helps and stuff, but yeah. I'm even thinking of just the 3 black blobs fight in Act 3 hallway, like not knowing which one's doing what. That would be bad. So I'm actually considering taking the fusion hammer here. That was consumed when we took it. Zap will never be 0. Capacitor's fine where it is. We hit all the cards that I absolutely would have wanted to. The fact that Rainbow exhausts, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. It just means if we were banking on that Dark Orb, and then of course if we do upgrade our card draw capabilities, then we increase our ability to function without having to, you know, generate orbs prematurely. So I don't think this is, I love smithing, I love upgrading, it's one of my favorite parts of a run, but I think this is called for. So let me know what you guys think. Thank you for joining me for Act 2. As you know, I record these in segments, so I will see you in the next part. Take care. Okay, on to Act 3, and this could be a bit of a problem because even though I've been very well behaved with my card choices, our deck is suffering. I would like to see a Glacier. I would like to see another Compile Driver or 2. I would like to see some focus gain, like defrag, or since we do have the capacitor, even a consume would be okay. We're facing Dono and Deca. We did take the fusion hammer, which means campfires are not as useful. I've made some adjustments here to reflect that. I've also put a higher priority on shops. We have the ability to go to 2 shops this act, so that's what I want to do to give us the best possible chance of achieving those goals. I don't think the deck right now is strong enough to take on the Act 3 boss. That's Dono and Deca. And you guys let me know what you think. I've been told that the oversimplification is that if you have really good damage, focus on Dono first. If you don't, focus on Deca first. So anyways, we could use some elite fights to get us stronger. Unfortunately here, we will have to make a choice between the two. So we'll have to see how it shapes up in early Act 3. But going this route, for example, does give us a shop, event, elite, event. Having the fire come after the elite is better now that we have the fusion hammer. We cannot smith, so, and of course coming this way we can change our mind if we pick up a Guerrilla or something else that enhances our campfire experience. So moving along, I'd like to find Electrodynamics for this fight, obviously. We will go for the eyes on the one. We have 6 energy this turn. Oh, that's crazy. Alright, so we did that. This gives us as much block as we're going to get. And so now what I would like to do is start hitting the one with the most HP that's about to armor up. And now that becomes this one. We don't have to kill them evenly. I'm perfectly fine with them sprouting back up one at a time. All of these would get in the way of finding Electrodynamics, so we're just going to skip. That choice is courtesy of the Milre's Codex, which, since we made it through the act, obviously the energy we spent, or the life we spent to acquire that is not a problem. We have Cool-Headed, Compile Driver. We got to play Cool-Headed first, because that doubles the effectiveness of Compile Driver's draw component. And there's the Electrodynamics. If we are going to cast Compile Driver, we have to do it first, because we're just going to lose our Frost Orb here, but I don't think that's the play. I think after Electrodynamics is online, spending the rest of our energy blocking the incoming damage makes a lot of sense. Unless we were to actually be able to like finish off one of the ones that are hitting us hard. 12 each, that's not the case. So let's see, this is just our best use, 20, and that puts us at 26 out of 27. Very not bad. Doom and Gloom is AoE. Hologram, what would we hologram for? Reinforced body. This fight's going to be over too quick for I think any of these to really matter. Take Doom and Gloom just because it will be the one that most likely to accelerate. So yeah, we're doing 12 AoE, although he just put up some armor. I was going to say 12 AoE, just right on the brink of... So here a Doom and Gloom would actually be pretty good. And there it is. Oh, I took damage, so the emotion chip kicked in. Wow. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that. So, okay. I forgot with the... So I had a couple runs where I had a very early static discharge and I was playing around with that. So I'm somewhat accustomed to trying to take 1 damage, and ever since we got the emotion chip, I've been forgetting that that is an option. And with Electrodynamics there, you see it just like ended the fight amazingly. I'm not a big fan of this card, but we are looking for some card draw right now. And if we get to a longer fight like an Elite, we can just not play it. Or accept the fact that the 2 damage every now and then on the added card in our deck. Like in that fight, finding Electrodynamics sooner does the burn in our deck. I don't think it matters. So since we are looking for more card draw, I will take that. I'm not thrilled to do so, but it does fit one of our deck's needs right now, so my hands are tied. Alright, so we don't have any of the thorny ones, so we don't have to treat this like we absolutely need Electrodynamics. These are all just very weak. So we can go ahead. I think I want to smoke one of the ones that are attacking us this turn. They explode. So we'll do that. We have to overclock just for the purpose of being able to do stuff with our energy. Compile drivers here. Let's see. We still are deficient in our energy uses. I'll go ahead and do this. So let's rainbow first, then compile driver. That way it's a draw 3. And now we have the best information as far as how to proceed. We can throw down the capacitor. We can ball lightning. And now that leaves us. He's just lethal, so we don't have to. Okay. So that wasn't a bad turn at all. Thank you, Overclock. I guess anything that's damage would help accelerate the fight right now, just to guarantee we draw it, or orb generation with the dark orb around. Ooh, what did he do? Alright, so this just ends the fight. Let's make it official. Alrighty, so that was pretty easy. No to barrage. Alright, with overclock, our card draw, I think I would buy this. I don't think I would buy this. If this wasn't available and we hadn't picked up an overclock, I think this would be a fine pull. Card removal. We have to be careful here, because if we end up at the next shop and we can't buy a glacier or a reinforced body, for example. Let me look at our block density here. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to count these as half cards at this point. So 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4 good blocks in a deck of 20. That's not okay. That's not okay. So the leap here looks pretty nice, actually. Healing per potion consumption, meh. This, we don't really deal too much in attacks. Like we have a good amount of orb. Like this is one of the ups and downs of the class. Because we function with orbs, things like dexterity and strength aren't as important. But the upside to that is things like frailty and weakness aren't as detrimental. So it's a give and take. My point being is I would normally take this, like early act 1, I would always take this with like the silent, for example, because the strength would just be enormous. But with this class, so my thoughts are compile driver and leap are good pickups here. Maybe a card remove. I don't want to be in a situation where we have like glacier offered at the next shop and we just can't take it. That said, we aren't necessarily going to another shop, right? Because we have up until here to decide if we would rather have a relic or a chance to pick and choose cards and potions. So I think compile driver and leap and card removal. Notice that we're not taking the self-repair. I'm not averse to self-repair. The fact that we have a pantograph makes it less necessary. We don't have an echo form. That makes it less valuable. We don't have access to smithing anymore. So at this point I think self-repair would largely be a dead card. And I'm starting to feel that way more and more in my runs. Like I don't rule it out, but I understand that it's not just free healing. The fact that we have 5 energy means I would be more inclined to take it, generally speaking. Alright, so we have no access to an artifact here, which is unfortunate because this is one of the best fights to have an artifact. So we will be trying to accelerate the fight as much as possible. Ball lightning does that. What do we have in our deck? Compile drivers. Sunder. Go for the eyes. Right now with the data disc, a ball lightning is 16 damage for 1 energy. That's not a bad exchange. Capacitor would allow us to ramp up even more. Although with Electrodynamics out of the deck, our ability to generate electric orbs, lightning orbs, goes down. So I will take the ball lightning here over the capacitor. One nice thing that just occurred to me is because the emotion chip, when we do take damage, we really up our game there. Wow, this is a hard choice because I was just talking about being fully stocked with electric, but I do think some of our other options here make sense. So let's cool-headed first so we have a clearer picture of what all of our options are. Ball, lightning, rainbow prevents us from Sunder, so maybe Sunder and ball lightning. Because this is a buff that stays on us constricted. And I'm glad that was pointed out to me because I thought it was like other debuffs, it was like a one-time thing. But no, that's 10 damage every turn on top of his attack. And that's why I'm of the mind that we need to accelerate this. So if we Sunder ball lightning, we miss out on rainbow. We miss out on the dark orb, which the dark orb could be what accelerates us here. But I don't think it would be hard to push the dark orb to the front and evoke it. And I think if we were to manage that, it wouldn't be any better than a Sunder, for example. Let's see our options here. Thunderstrike. Okay. Currently 5. We could rainbow ball lightning. Alright. So now this is as good as it's going to get this turn. There's 49. Alright. I feel much better now. Block what we can. We're going to be taking 26. Yeah, I think block's better than a strike here. Defense better than a strike. Go for the eyes. Is mitigation. And, excuse me, it's mitigation and offense. Light on both counts, but nevertheless. Right, compile driver, let's draw 3. Nice. Go for the eyes. Go for the eyes. We're just looking to close it out here. We only need 1 damage. And there it is. Alright. So that could have been a lot worse. And I'm pleased to see that Overclock is justifying its include. Loop plus. We don't have much in the way of frost orbs, but this is some of the scaling we were missing out on. We do have 2, technically 3 sources of frost orbs. So I'm going to take the loop plus. That's kind of, it's indirectly something we've been needing more of. Duplicate a card in your deck. I mean, reinforced body pluses would be great. We picked up the overclock and the compile driver, so I'm somewhat satisfied with our card draw at this point. Cool-headed plus would be a good option. Its card draw gets us to loop, justifies loop. Reinforced body or cool-headed plus. I'm going to go with cool-headed plus here. I don't know that it's necessarily the better choice, but I'm currently in a mode where I'm trying to get hooked on this card more. I've heard so many people say, like, oh, this is such a great card. And once upgraded, yeah, it's not bad, but like, later in the game, you want your frost orbs, so I kind of get it, but part of me kind of doesn't. So I'm just going to go with the cool-headed, just to kind of try to drive home to my head that this works or it doesn't work. It's card draw, it's frost orb, it's the things we're looking for right now, so. Alright. Elite, we don't need to heal. Going this path gives us the option of another store. Where are we at as far as that goes? We have picked up quite a bit more card draw. Please there. Some more defense. Please there. A little bit of scaling. So yeah, we're still looking for focus. Picked up some frost orb. Alright. So mainly right now, the deck's main problem is focus and orb scaling in general. So we're looking for a defrag, maybe even a consume since we have the capacitor already. so the deck already, just in these 5 floors, we've improved our deck for Act 3 significantly, so I'm very pleased with that. Alright, so this guy is... he will be testing our ability to consistently put up the defense that we need. Alright, so we definitely want a cool-headed first. That makes our compile driver draw for 2. But do we need to draw right at this point? Electrodynamics and loop. I think what I would like to find is capacitor, because with loop plus, if we can make it to where our frost orb's up front, I think that's going to go a long way. Of course, we could just not electrodynamics. Alright, so either way, I think I'm comfortable with compile driver here. Dual cast puts the frost orb up front. So we're going to be spending a lot of energy this turn, not defending much, but sending up for better subsequent turn defense. We got 3. We can just go for 16, 19. That would be a full block. I'd like to have the ball lightning in, but this will be a full block now. And now the loop is giving us 6 passive armor per turn. It's really not that much because we don't have the focus scaling right now. Aggregate can be good. What are we looking for exactly? More frost orbs, basically. Capacitor. None of these really bring us closer to that. I'm not averse to playing the electrodynamics and stuff, but for now, I want to set up for maximum. This is what Act 3 is about with this class, in my opinion. So let's see, go for the eyes. That's 33. We have 9, which means we need 24. With this, we would need 3 energy. Alright, so this is just 1 damage, but it's free to us. Rainbow. A well-placed dark orb would actually go a long way in this fight. But we already have a rainbow. And it's very specific in how it channels it, so it doesn't really help us keep the frost up front. Force field would not be a bad pick here. Alright, I'm calming down. I just noticed I was a little filled with a little bit of nervous energy there. And the run's been so great so far, I don't want it falling apart in Act 3. I guess I'm excited that the deck started in one position and it's already shaping up fairly nicely. Also, I've never played with this card, so this is a unique type of challenge for me. Trying to reassess on the fly instead of just at the end of combat when you're offered your rewards. This could be a relatively lengthy fight. He's intangible every other turn. So a well-timed Dark Orb would go a long way. I don't know that that's worth taking Rainbow, though. Of course, pushing all our orbs forward, we have 5 energy per turn. That evokes some things. It's a light form of defense with possible of ending. So this is a pretty balanced option. Force field, we have capacitor we'll play that would drop it down to 2. We haven't played the electrodynamics that drops it down to 1. I don't think this is good enough anytime soon, so I'll just take the rainbow because it kind of ramps up a lot of different things. Alright, there's the capacitor. And if we zap, compile driver becomes a draw 2. Hey. Alright, so if we rainbow, we end up with 12 block. That's good enough. And now we have a dark orb on the table. So that's nice. And there's... oh! We have no way of knowing if that's our rainbow or the one we inserted. Cool-headed hologram. What would we hologram? It's not hologram plus, so it goes away. Well, no, because we add a card, we draw, it gets shuffled back in. I was going to say our discard pile's so large that it's worth including, but that's not going to be the case, because we're going to draw it and we're not going to have a discard pile. So it can't be hologram this turn. We could go for fusion to make our compile drivers more valuable for the duration of the fight. I look at this card, fusion, and I don't care much for it, but my eyes have been opened somewhat. Cool-headed's not a plus. I'll go for the fusion. Having a 4th orb type, although if we played it, we'd lose our frost orb up front. But maybe based on what he's doing, we can afford to do that at some point. I don't think now is that point. Rainbow puts another frost orb up front, which is great. So I don't think we play fusion this turn. That's funny. And we have all our draw cards. That's funny as well. So let me... Rainbow. That evokes a frost orb. Gets another dark orb up. So now we are up to 12 black. I will compile driver, trying to look for more black. Electrodynamics pushes 3 orbs. That pushes the frost back to the front. I'm okay with that. Because it evokes a frost. Yeah, because right now our only block is coming from the frost orb, so evoking one now while keeping one up front seems like a good idea. It's our best option, I think. Alright, so we're taking some damage here. I suppose I could supplement with this. Good genetic algorithm. Okay. Well. Creative AI is would be helpful here. This is a way to accelerate a fight. We have 5 energy and we could afford to accelerate the fight. I don't think anything with the power synergies does much as far as our frost orbs though. So this is a bogus hand, but at least we get full block. Yeah, that would have been better last turn, I think. Aggregate. No. Recycle. Yes. That'll give us the ability to start thinning our deck down. The fight's halfway over. And we do have a dark orb back here, so obviously we can't pop it now. This is intangible, but setting it up for popping it next turn might be good. Just draw the dual cast here. We need a compile driver. Our offensive cards here are not great. Do this. We have 4 energy. Do we ever need to recycle anything? Not for the energy's sake. Let's see. Would we do it for a deck thinning aspect? Yes, I don't think Sunder... Well, Sunder could be drawn next turn, actually. But I'm thinking otherwise Sunder's not going to be a big deal. I don't want to give up. I'm just going to end turn. So the recycle was dead there. This guarantees we draw Sunder next turn. So I'll go ahead and take that. Sunder and 2 ways to push an orb forward and the fight's over. Because we got a window of opportunity here. Sunder and 2 ways of... Oh wow, even better. Cool-headed plus. And now dual cast on that dark orb is quite good. And then Sunder just ends the fight. Alright, so that wasn't so bad. I'm glad we took the rainbow, the native one. Because that... Right, in Act 2, the gremlin leader made me feel like, oh, we need something to accelerate these fights, and this was another one of those fights, so we were kind of in a holding pattern. Alright, so if we do choose to take the other elite, it will be a easier fight. Fusion Plus is better than Fusion, and we did pick up a second compile driver, so even though I don't think we need the energy, this buffing compile driver can be quite good. And then of course when you evoke it, it more than pays for itself. It's +1, you put the 1 in and you keep the 1 every subsequent turn until you evoke it, in which case you get double your energy back. It's not a bad deal when it's a plus. Alright, we could definitely use the rest and it's our only option, so... Got That's why we wanted the campfire after the elite. I'm definitely feel like I'm a better player than I was the last time I published a run, so I hope you guys are enjoying that and feel the same way. Alright, so we can just play our whole hand, and I don't see that order matters. So we'll just play our whole hand. And the emotion chip's not going to do much here. There's no evoke. Wait, no, it triggers the passive, so yeah, that's what it is. The strike actually does nothing here. They all have 6 armor. It goes away at the end of the turn anyways. Storm, no. Capacitor, no. Skim. I think our card draw is fine enough that, because like Compile Driver does damage, this gives us a Frost Orb, this costs 0. This we actually have to pay the energy for, and it does nothing else but draw cards. So I'm just going to skip. Our card draws fine. I suppose I could have taken it just to have more card draw, since we do want to find Electrodynamics here. So maybe taking Skim was the right play there. I think that's probably fair to say. Alright. So if we do this, that's free. That's our best target. That's a block for 5, for 0 energy. We will Cold Snap the one with the most health. No, these guys don't need to die. Alright, so we'll do that. So now our Compile Driver draws for 3. Rainbow. We don't need the Dark Orb. And we need to make sure that we can... But we have a lot of energy because of the... So I think this is fine. Now we can reevaluate. Yeah, this is just... if it's not full block, we couldn't have blocked for any more, so... Buffer! Seek! Yeah, Seek. Because in the event that we draw it ahead of Electrodynamics, we can Seek for Electrodynamics. I used to view Seek as a godsend, just always take it, there's no downside. That's not entirely true. In a deck like this, obviously we would take it, we put a lot of weight on Electrodynamics, so having it available to us. Because we have an enormous amount of energy this turn. As soon as we play this, we're still back at 8. So now we can Sunder him and get 3 energy back. The way I was planning the turn of going, I knew we had lots of energy. It would have made more sense to Compile Driver first, because it would have been a draw 4 rather than a draw 3. What would we seek for? Nothing. Although we do have energy, so I guess seeking for a Cool-Headed Plus. Fall Lightning evokes the Dark Orb. That evokes that, and he's just dead, so I'm just going to have to turn. He's dead. He's dead. We don't have to choose another card. Alright. Leap Plus. Let's take another look at our block density here. We got 2, I'm going to count that as 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 24. This would be 6 out of 25, and I think that's a good idea. That's an oversimplification, so if you're newer to the game, please don't think that what I'm doing here is scientific or useful or the right way to do things. Leap, especially Leap Plus, is not a bad card in and of itself. It's just, you know, later in the game we're going to be facing turns, like you saw with Nemesis, where he's doing over 40 damage at once, and a Leap Plus isn't going to contribute enough to that. That's why we really want the orb scaling, get the Frost Orbs and focus, and now we're generating 40-50 armor per turn passively, but the run has not been cooperating with us on the Frozen Orb. Power. That would be Electrodynamics. The end boss is a two-person fight. Alternatively, we could choose Loop, just because if we can get a Frost Orb up front, that's a little bit. It's not much right now. Our uses of it so far have not been particularly impactful, but you never know, like 1 or 2 focus cards and that changes, so... but I don't think putting the bottle on Electrodynamics It's the card we hunt for the most. I think if we were to get focus gain through consume, this would become higher priority, but for where we're at right now, I think Electrodynamics is the way to go. Enemy combats are no longer in random events, which is nice. We do have... We might not have any random events left. I do think we're at a point where going to the store makes more sense than going to the elite. Although that does have more hallway fights. I don't know, we have to go here either way. So I don't know how valuable this is. But we have it now, so let's see. That's map dependent. Consumed, grayed out, consumed. There we go. Okay. So we have to come here regardless. Oh dear. Okay. Well, here the leaps pluses, especially with the card draw we have, might end up being great. We can play this to get it out of our hand. I think I'll do that before cool-headed, just so we can keep a frost orb in our rotation. That would be, you know, now that I think about it, that would be more for compile driver than anything. In this fight, the amount of damage he does is retarded by how much damage you do to him first. So in this case, a lightning orb is actually worth slightly more than a frost orb as far as self-preservation. As backwards as that might sound, it's accurate. Alright, so compile driver shows up. And now we've got everything we need, so we can spend the rest of the turn just setting up. Was there anything else we could set up from here? No. Nothing else costs 0, so compile driver here would not accomplish anything. This is not a fight you win by killing him. So the amount of damage we can output per turn is not relevant beyond our ability to do enough damage to whittle him down to doing 0 damage to us. Energy is not a problem, but we are doing a fair amount of card draw, so I do think Steam is better than Creative AI there. Creative AI, I mean, the fight is only 5 turns long, regardless. Right. So, Rainbow first or Cool-Headed? Probably Cool-Headed just to see what our options are. Fusion. That helps compile drivers, but not our offense or defense. Although playing more orbs does evoke more orbs. So I think we should prioritize all of our orb generation here. Putting the dark as close to the front as possible just increases the chance that it's useful at some point. I should have thought more about which of those I wanted first. I think since the lightning's dropping off, having it next in line might have been okay, but whatever. So we do this at 7 out of 16, another 8. So we'll take 1 damage here. Vulnerable might actually be helpful here. We are getting compile drivers, so my only reservation... Oh, you know what? Actually, with Capacitor Online, this is much better. I was going to say my only reservation is this costs 0, and we're doing okay with energy, but our being okay with energy is what's fueling our card draw, at which point this becomes a free play. And in line with that, I think we'll say 2 to 3 energy every turn is being spent on card draw. So I don't know how good this would be. This does obviously buff the compile drivers themselves. So there's that, but we only have 2. Where are they in the deck? Yeah, they're already in our discard pile, so I think Barrage is just the better choice here. Right now that's 20 damage for 1 energy. Wants to do 50 this turn. Oh, okay, we're very well covered this turn. Loop, just a good setup, regardless. That does the evoke. This hits for a lot, and then this blocks for a lot. So yeah, that was a very, very easy turn. 2 more to go. Glacier. It would be nice to have you permanently. Echo Form's not going to do enough. So I think Reboot's the option here. Glacier would have been fine. Especially right now with the Dark Orb on deck. I think Glacier would have been fine. Perhaps even better. Alright, so this does 32. Are we going to play Overclock? 32, 38, 40, 51, 57. Yeah, we have more than enough, so we don't even need to bother. We have all the numbers we need to fully stop what he's trying to do. Defrag's good enough. I don't think any of this matters at this point. We either have it or we don't. Whatever we chose there, we guaranteed in our next draw. I think Glacier was offered again, so maybe that was the play. Because here the defrag only adds 3 to our total. Right, so that's huge. That knocks quite a bit off right there. This potentially knocks a bunch off. We'll do that. Draw some cards. Cold Snap. This evokes the Dark Orb. Defend. Strike. Alright, so we are in the clear. Doesn't matter. Okay, not bad. Smoke Bomb. That's pretty good right now. No unupgraded Streamline. So do we need the store? We picked up a couple of leaps, including a plus. Card draw is fairly good, which gets us to the leaps. I'm inclined to say, based on how that fight played out, that we might be ready for the boss. Might be ready for the boss. So, if we head this way, we get 2 random events which cannot be fights, thanks to the Juzu bracelet. We do have the Smoke Bomb, which specifies non-boss, which means we can use it on an elite. So I think since the deck is ready, this is just the safe path. And in keeping with that, I'm inclined to say no here. I failed to consider the fact that this is a campfire. This route would have been safer, actually. The ability to rest multiple times. I'm going to leave here. What I'm looking at is rest site plus pantograph re-enter full health. That's our best chance for succeeding. So we'll come here, see what we find. The head. We're not really good at playing a whole lot of cards per turn. He's got reduced health thanks to the preserved insect. He doesn't do that much damage at first. What does Leap Plus do? 13. Okay, so we only need to expend 1 energy. Alright. We can use a Smoke Bomb at any time, so there's no point in not just playing through until such a time that we figure out that it would be problematic to do so. Although I suppose I could have said that about the last event as well. We did just summon a whole bunch of orbs. I like Buffer better though, because I'm confident we'll be able to muster enough block per turn, but we can always set down a buffer so that in the event that we're wrong, that is no longer a problem. Alright, I'll capacitor here first, and then cool-headed Rainbow ahead of Compile Driver, both because it makes compiled, well, we're running out of energy, but I'm just thinking that with the slow debuff here, you want to play your non-damaging cards first. So maybe Rainbow into Cold Snap so that we don't draw. Is there anything we draw into that we would not want to? The loss of the buffer would be somewhat problematic. Alright, we'll just Rainbow and then Cold Snap. Maybe Cold Snap ahead of Rainbow, I don't know. I don't know how much the Dark Orb's going to come into play here. Never pass on a Compile Driver. We have the ability to generate all 4 orbs. So I think maybe that's why I needed my eyes opened on Fusion, is the fact that it makes Compile Driver better. That makes sense. Alright, let's get the loop into play. We'll play the Fusion first, even though that kind of interferes with the loop slightly. So now we can draw 4 and have a better idea of what our options are. We need to block for 13, we have 12. So Cool-Headed would be enough. Ball Lightning Defend is enough. Cool-Headed puts the Frost Orb on deck for loop. But if I'm also going to be Ball Lightning, that does it as well. So, oops, should have played Defend first because the slow buff. We might have missed out on a damage or 2 there. I don't think having another buffer is a problem. They do stack, and it's all about having a failsafe, because if we don't use our smoke bomb here, we can use it for a hallway fight. That might look too bad. So here we have 12 damage out of 13. So a single defend puts us in the good. We'll get our 2 buffers up and do something to start pushing us forward. Alright. We might have time for Echo Form. We have plenty of compile drivers. We draw it for sure, so yeah, let's go. We got the buffers up. It is a good way of accelerating the fight. I had a run recently where I got an event or a mirror or something that allowed me to replicate my Echo Form, and so the Echo Form doubled my next Echo Form, and since that counted as playing my first card, both of the Echo Forms I had just done. And it was funny because I was playing against the Time Eater, so like I only got to play 3 cards per turn because they were all doubled up, so that was like 6 cards. It was funny. Anyways, we're always going to do this. We're always going to do this. And now we have 3 energy, so Cool-Headed might work against us. But this is not enough, right? 16, 22, 32. It is, by a long shot. So let's forget about Cool-Headed for now. If nothing else, to not put... Although, you know what? We do have the energy, it's free. Putting the Dark Orb up front with Loop, yeah. That's the way to do it. Alright. So now, the Dark Orb will just grow that much faster, and we can just choose to unleash it at will. We also now have Echo Form up. So I'm going to do this. The loop would be gimmicky there. I don't think it would be a problem, but this just guarantees we have Echo Form up. A 0-cost shield barrier would be like great. Dual cast here. We would do almost 200 damage to him. Too juicy. Oh wait, no. Okay, never mind. That's fine. That's fine. I don't think we have another Dark Orb available to us, but that's fine. Alright, is this enough block? Oh yeah, we had plenty. Okay, so we can just Sunder. Alright, yep. Hey! It's too late for that. Alright. It had a little bit of an endorphin high for the dual cast, but yeah. It was weird because I put it up there so it could grow, and then I just expended it. Not good. Alright, so we do need to do this. Alright, it's still not enough. This darkness. Cold snap. We have all the energy in the world. All lightning, zap. That should be enough mitigation, or close. We do have the buffers, is what I was trying to get at. And there goes one of them. Because we still have a buffer, I'm inclined to double up on a compile driver just because of its damage output. So that's free block. Start generating some orbs. So not a perfect block, but we do have the buffer. And now we just kill him. Actually, loot kills him. Maw Bank, that's funny. Funny, funny, funny. Weak Potion's pretty good. Barrage Plus. We are looking for accelerants slightly. The plus is what gets me here. It's 30 damage for 1 energy. It's not the best use of our energy. It's not the worst either. I think our card draw is such that we can afford. I'm just going to go for it. Alright. Last time we might need to smoke bomb. And I will definitely smoke bomb this guy. I do not like this fight. We don't have an artifact, so I'm just out of here. Alright, what does our final event look like? I don't see a downside to taking this option other than 9 health. But I was told that this is really bad for some reason. Reduce the cost of random. Like, unless what you are... Oh, because it interferes with your card draw. We only draw 5 cards per turn if this is one of them. Yeah, with our energy level being what it is, I don't... Yeah, okay. Yeah, I used to just exit out of here, and then one time I took a look at this and I couldn't necessarily visualize. Yeah, when you're only drawing 5 cards per turn, having them be like some kind of filler like Seek or Madness, not always the greatest thing. We're just going to lose the max HP here, which does... oh, no it doesn't. Okay, it interferes with the rest site because it's percentage based, but the pantograph is fixed. So there we go. We enter final fight, max health, slightly lower because of that last event. They have artifacts, so our weakness potion is useless. Compile driver only draws for 1. This is one of the reasons I added Barrage. Adding a Dark Orb's not fast enough. So we have to decide which one we want to attack first. And if I remember correctly, the oversimplification is if you have the damage output, you go for Donu first. I don't think that we do. To be honest for you up front. Although with Electrodynamics, it's going to be a nice, relatively even kill. Maybe with the... Yeah, the Electrodynamics guarantees that every electric orb hits both every time. I can afford to try this. We can only draw 1 with our current hand, that's why I'm just doing it. Alright, so this does this, and now we want to block. So we say leap, defend, that's all we got. So we didn't find any damage scaling. Oh yeah. This could complete some holes in our deck. Sweeping beam, is that enough? I don't really think so. Machine learning, this is one fight where that might be okay, especially since we have 5 energy. I do think our card drive's enough that 0 cost is fine. And I still feel that our biggest weakness in this fight is just being able to block enough consistently. If we can find more card draw, that would be great. Here, this would be a great fight for the emotion chip to be utilized. So in that regards, we do want the capacitor sooner rather than later. Because we're just probably going to be taking damage a fair amount. So we'll do that. Wow. We'll do that. We're getting our frost orbs in there. This is meaningless, but I forgot when I said this was meaningless that we have a go for the eyes. So at some point we will be able to get through and apply some weakness to these people. And is it sexist of me that I always see him as a him and this one as a her? I don't know. Anyways, moving along. We should cold snap. Anything that's pushing our orbs forward is probably a good thing. Fusion. Let's see, we have 9, 16. Yeah, let's just forget the fusion this time. Excuse me. In retrospect, the fusion probably would have been fine because we would have been evoking an orb Let's see, 19 and 9. That's 28. 2 over. So I think casting Fusion instead of another block would have given us almost perfect block, which would have given us the Emotion Chip. However, yeah, and the Emotion Chip next turn would have been 6 okay. Fusion would have been better than the last block. Math says so. I think all 3 of these are good right now. Mana and draw are not so much, so we'll go with Creative AI. That could be something that helps us win the fight more quickly, although she's already taking quite a bit of damage. Yeah, the Plasma would have been better there, not only for that turn, but this turn as well. So that was a mistake on my part. Let's grow our slots. Let us Ball Lightning so that now Compile Drive draws for 2. And we can't play the Creative AI, so we'll block what we can. That's plenty. Oops. Get another chance at it. Yeah, I mean, because worst case scenario is we just don't play the other one. The problem with Creative AI is that it can produce a Creative AI, it can produce an Echo form. So we're kind of committing. It's one of the. It is nice that we have the 5. I just realized that Pantograph's on screen. We have the 5 energy. Okay. Creative AI. Loop. Leap. Alright, so that's a bad one. Could be worse. Force Field is free. So I think we have to take it. Card draw is not going to mean as much now that Creative AI is going to be stuffing our hand. Like I mentioned, Creative AI itself and Echo Form are both 3 energies, so card draw is less important now. Loop, that's good. Okay, so we can just play everything here, and it's all good. Okay, Frost, that's good. And we have lots of block this turn. Compile Driver. Amplify goes real well with the Creative AI. In theory. It'll be fun if nothing else. Don't know if it's our best approach, but it'll be fun. Hey, there's Echo Form. And no... Alright, this allows us to finally make use of this. And it's 3 turns, so it'll not only apply to her attack this turn, but also 2 turns from now. Echo Form, there we go. This is all the mitigation we can muster. Do 30 damage. Nice. Not bad. Not bad. White Noise, another power. We do have Amplify. Sure, why not? We're just kind of like memeing it at this point. As long as we can stay alive, that's all that really matters. So in that regards, the Creative AI and stuff might be a bad thing. Wow, Bias Cognition. ×2 even. That would mean Amplify. Wow. Oh, Amplify would not be a good first play, though, would it? The next power card is played twice. So I'm assuming if that was Echo Formed, it would say this turn your next 2 power cards, and we can only play 1. So with Echo Form up, Amplify is actually a bad card. Little did I know. We do have 3 copies of Loop, though, so I think this, any sort of orb scaling is good, even though it does have a downside. Okay. So as far as mitigation, our needs are 38. We currently have 37. That's perfect. That'll trigger the Emotion Chip. Very nice. Sunder's a thing here. We can Compile Driver first. I don't know what it does for us. Creative AI? Well, if we have 2 Creative AIs in play, then the Amplify is not so useless. So, in fact, the Amplify would allow, if I understand correctly, Echo Form would make Amplify, say, the next 2, and then 2 from Creative AI. So yeah, let's play the Creative AI here. Our mitigation needs are perfectly met. We are 1 under, which triggers the Emotion Chip, which is great. Chill exhausts, so there's that. FTL is 0 and it does damage. We're spending a lot of our focus now on, or energy on, what creative AIs are doing for us. So I think a 0 cost draw card can be useful. So that if we do need to, like, we have a Dark Orb on deck, and you know that's just as bursty. It exhausts, so I don't think we're in too bad of shape here. Heat sinks, wow, heat sinks gets super nutty, super nutty. So I get a chance to show you guys what I'm talking about. Echo Form, right? Now it doubles up, so now it says our first 3 cards. And since the Echo Form we played counted as 1 card as far as first card, even though we technically played 2. So against Time Eater that would have counted as playing 2 cards, but that was still our first card. So we still have 2 more doubling ups here. Heat sinks would be absolutely nutty. So we wouldn't want to double that up. Doubling up Chill, doubling up Dual Cast. We get 2 double ups at this point, I think, so our mitigation is provided for. So we should be thinking in terms of offense right now. And Dual Cast does do that, the second one. And now we can double up on Cold Snap, I guess, because it does more damage. Alright, and now we don't even have the energy to play Heat Sinks, which is just as well, because I think that would have gotten way out of control. In fact, the first time I played Creative AI, that's exactly what I was facing. Everything I played was like summoning lightning orbs and drawing cards, and I couldn't keep track of what was going on. Buffer times 2 seems really good, although our first 3 cards get doubled up. So do that. And this is just game over, because the Dark Orb. Alright, so we pulled through. Nice. Thank you guys very much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed that. I look forward to all your comments. I'm sure I made my share of mistakes, but I did want to say that I'm probably going to be recording more of my runs moving forward, simply because saying things out loud and actually taking the time to think. One of the problems with this game is that because you can just pick it up and play and like an hour, hour and a half later be done and then just play again, it's real easy to kind of just like gloss over a lot of the important decisions, and that sucks because it's real easy for me to fall into that rut, and it then deprives me of so much of the enjoyment I get from the game. So I think I will be recording more of my runs moving forward, just so that I'm talking them out and taking my time. So thank you guys for joining me. I appreciate that. I will see you in the next run. Take care.